Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. It has been a while. We've had a lot going on in the family. We've had a few things that have, needed dealing with, and so I took a little bit of time away from my YouTube channel, but I am back today. And today we are talking about where do we go when we fall asleep? Where do we actually go when we fall asleep? And it's like, what is it that happens to our bodies when we actually fall asleep? Where does our soul go? Because it doesn't just go to sleep. Let's get into it, guys. So today I'm going to be talking about what spirit brings to me for when we fall asleep. So I ask the question of my guides all the time. And if you don't know me here, guys, I'm Kelly. I'm a psychic medium. I've been a psychic medium all my life. I only started really working with it about 25 years ago. But I connect with spirit. I connect with the higher realms. I connect with my spirit guides. And I also connect with souls that have passed over and they are sort of, kind of lost in the middle, sort of don't know how to get to the light. So I do a lot of also home cleanses as well. I do lots and lots of things, to be honest. Now, I've had questions asked to me many, many times by my lovely subscribers, by my lovely customers and clients. They always say to me, but where do we go when we fall asleep? Because we dream. We obviously dream. Everybody dreams. Everyone visits different places when they go to sleep. Some people wake up and they're like, oh my God, that felt so real. Vivid dreams. There's so many things that happen when we go to sleep. So let me get into what my guides have given to me is happening to us when we go to sleep. So first of all, we don't just go to sleep and that's it. Our body just recharges, which we all believe is true. Everyone, all the skeptics that come to me, they're like, oh yeah, but you just go to sleep. Your body just needs to rest. Yes, the body needs to rest. I get that. It really does. But it also, your soul has to travel. We are traveling through this lovely lifetime on earth. So there are many different dimensions that our body goes through. And there are so many dimensions that our soul goes through on its journey through life. Now, we have been here many times. Some of us are on a first journey. Some of us are on our 5th journey. Some of us are on our 100th journey. Whichever lifespan we chose to take with our souls and to come back to earth, we've probably reincarnated so many times. Our soul just travels and goes where it needs to go. When I work with my guides and my angels, I always ask the question, when I go to sleep, where is it I'm going? What's happening? What is happening to my body, my soul, my mind? Where am I going to? Some people talk to me about having dreams where they feel like it's so real, like they've been somewhere else, but they felt like they've been there before. Some people talk about meeting their beautiful passed over loved ones. Some people talk about when they go to a different place or they're driving or they're flying in an aeroplane. There are so many different scenarios when we dream. Some people do not dream at all. Some people don't have any dreams whatsoever. Now, let's go into why we dream and what that could actually mean for us. So first of all, when we start to dream, so our body goes into a state of sleep. Basically what happens is there's like 3 layers to sleep. So the first layer is where we're just drifting off. We're just slowly going into that calm. And then we just go into this like soft sleeping mode. And my guides give it to me like when we first go to sleep, when we're first dropping off to sleep, that's our soul kind of just deciding which path it's going to take. Then we go into the next phase, which is we start to actually fall asleep. Our body has gone to sleep, but our soul is then going on a little bit of a tour around anywhere that it feels it needs to go. Now, when we go to sleep, it's like, the only way I can describe my guide showing it to me is like we sort of like go on like a cloud and it's like a really weird, when you see like the way they showed it to me was like there's smoke on the floor. When you see like a singer and they've got like smoke on the floor just below their feet when they're doing like a certain song and they need it to be mystical. That's exactly how it looks, but it's very, very light. There's no darkness. It's just really, really light. There's lots of different colours as well. So can you imagine the Northern Lights? This is how they show it to me. It's like all different little lights coming up from this lovely smoke that's at the bottom of you. And you go on this little journey and you've got to remember something as well. You never go alone. You are never, ever going to go alone because your guides will always, always be with you. We are connected by like a cord. It's like imagine like going on a bungee jump and you've got the strongest cord that there is. So if you fall too far, it will spring you back. That's literally how my guide showed it to me. So they have a cord that's like attached to them. And as I'm walking along, along, they're still with me, but if I was to go anywhere out of their guidance, they sort of pull you back. So you will never, ever, never go anywhere without your guides. Your guides will always be with you and they will always bring you back. That's how we wake up from sleep. So the next part of your sleep is, so you go on this journey, you are literally like going through all the different things in your mind. So maybe there's things that you've been going through in your day. You've probably been thinking about, you know, the next shopping bill or the next thing that's coming up this week, you know, like school trips or whatever. And suddenly you start to have these dreams where dreaming about, you know, the things that you've been thinking about all week, and then you make a scenario out of it. This can sometimes be a precognitive dream, which means that you have like a premonition when you go to sleep. So this premonition is like it's sort of like a guided message. We get messages from our guides, we get messages about what's going to come up. It's sometimes just like gives you that little bit of a heads up, you know, so you know that something's going to work out or something isn't going to work out. And some people just ignore it and they're like, oh, I'm probably just thinking this, but actually sometimes it happens what they've dreamt about. So sometimes it's a guided message to say this is likely to be the scenario. So let's go into now why our soul travels when we go to sleep. So when we go to sleep, our soul, we have free will, okay? So our soul is allowed to travel. So when we go to sleep, our body and our soul decides to actually go fully to sleep or whether to go and travel somewhere else. So the body will then relax, and then the soul has a freedom with their guides to go along and do whatever they need to do. Now, most people do this so that they can meet their spirit guides. Some people do this to get more messages of guidance from, you know, ascended masters. Some go right up into the higher realms because, like myself, I always set an intention when I go to sleep as well that my guides will always bring me the messages of guidance for the highest good of all, for myself and for anyone that I work with, or, you know, if I'm doing these kind of videos. So not only do you go up there to get messages and to obviously be able to bring guidance to others, but it's also to sort of cleanse and refresh your soul. Some angels, earth angels I call us, some earth angels that are, you know, light workers, we need to be cleansed and we need to sort of refresh and sort of get grounded and protected by our own guides and angels. So we go up there and we go to the higher realms and we go onto a certain frequency. And we meet with our guides and angels, and they help to cleanse us and purify us. And sometimes they also take away any negative energy that we may be holding on to that is no good for us. So now let's talk about dreaming and journeying. So dreams and journeying. So when our soul leaves our body when we're sleeping, what normally happens is the soul goes on a little mission, and sometimes it's to revisit their past lives, sometimes it's just to work out what's going on in their daily lives, sometimes it's actually to recollect things that have happened so that they can make sense of it. So when you're dreaming and you're journeying through this soul, you know, this soul journey, you're actually bringing forward things that may have or may be ready to happen. And sometimes it can be where you're rehearsing for a future event, which is what I was saying earlier. Sometimes these precognitive dreams, these premonitions that we get in our dreams, and then they become a reality. It's because you're being rehearsed. You're rehearsing ready for that scenario to happen. And this always happens when you least expect it as well. So you just randomly out of the blue one day get a dream that you go, oh my goodness, like where has that come from? And the reason that happens is because sometimes it's when your guides are trying to show you something and you're not reading the signs. They send you lots and lots of signs. And like I said in a previous podcast, our guides and angels are so subtle. You would not know that they are sending you a message unless you're looking for it, or unless they blatantly put it there. Like they will literally, if you are not listening, they will put it out there and you will just know, because they'll be like, right, I've tried the easy way, I've tried the nice gentle way, it's not working, here we go, bang, there's something for you to know. So again, it could just be the same thing that you're going through as you're journeying through with your soul. So now let's talk about lucid dreams and like astral traveling, and let's see where it kind of goes there. So lucid dreaming and astral travel, this is where when you're sleeping, your soul is pretty much awake, which means you're an awakened soul. And what will happen is that they can then, like your soul will then go on a little journey, and it will direct its own journey, and it will take you to something or somewhere that feels very, very real, somewhere you probably feel like you've been before. And it sometimes can feel a little bit like deja vu, or you can sometimes feel like, oh my goodness, because you have projected yourself astrally, or you may have just had this lucid dream purely because you are connecting with your guides and angels. And again, we do this when we are awakening, when we are fully awakening our spiritual souls. And that can happen for many reasons. One, there could have been a trauma or something that you've gone through and you need to wake up to what this message was. So obviously I always talk about trauma as being something that where we've got like a lesson that we need to learn from our past life, or a lesson that we need to learn in this life, you know. So that's what I see traumas as. Obviously it's just what I think and what my guides bring forward. So again, this could be the reason why you're having these lucid dreams and these, you know, astral projections, because you are actually your soul needs to learn that lesson. It needs to find a way to sort of bring it to reality so that you can then learn that lesson. Not only do you astral project and you go to your angels and guides and they give you the messages of guidance that you need, sometimes we don't listen and we just think, oh, it was just a dream, and then it comes reality. The reason it becomes a reality is because they were trying to give you that guidance. They were trying to show you what was going to come up, which is what I was talking about, rehearsing, ready for something like a certain scenario. In life, there are many things that will happen. So when you go to sleep, you can also find that you dream about the things that have been happening to you. You might find that you dream about, you know, situations that you're out of control with. When you go to sleep, your soul wants to learn about how to control that situation, wants to learn how to control it better so that you can, you know, maybe just live a little bit of a happier life, or maybe live a little bit more of a peaceful life. And that is literally how the soul works. The soul is so precious as well. Like our soul, like I always say this is our costume. This is what we're wearing. We're wearing a costume, wearing an outfit, and we're all just part of a bigger sort of like, it's like a bit like being in a show, you know, like being on the TV and being in one of those sitcoms, or maybe being in a play, and just, you know, we're literally living our lives like we are in a show. We're in a play. And we're just like little actors and actresses that come in and play little parts. And so when we go and do our soul traveling while we're sleeping, our soul is actually learning what is next, or what is coming up, or what is happening and why it's happened. And then these dreams happen and the journeying, and it all just becomes a big, you know, it becomes a big message is what I would say. It becomes a very big message from your guides and angels. But always remember one thing, no matter how far you go out of your body while you're sleeping, you will always be connected back to your guides. Your guides will always pull you back and you will always come back. That's why I'm going to go on to the next thing, which is the body jolt. Everybody's had the body jolt. Everyone's had the jolt where they're just drifting off, or they're going through a dream and they go, boom, oh my God, what was that? That is something very different. So let me go into that. So what is the body jolt? Oh my goodness, everyone's had this. So as you're slowly going into that dream state, sometimes the body will go, oh, and we dive up out of bed and we're like, oh my goodness, what was that? Like, that scared me. And your heart starts racing, your heart starts pumping. This is your body's way of saying you're disconnecting from the body. So the body it's the body, not the soul. The soul already knows where it's going, but the body goes, no, don't move from me, like, don't leave me. And then it goes boom, and it jolts you back in. Sometimes it feels like you're falling, you know, I'm falling off a cliff, or falling down the stairs, or something like that. Something that is the body's way of reacting to your soul slowly going on a little journey. So do not ever worry if that happens to you. And some people do say, well, if I don't wake up, then I'm going to be dead. That's not true at all. It's just the body's way of reacting to the soul finally releasing, going to do what it wants to do, but it will always come back. That's why it quickly jolts you back to go, actually, don't worry, you know, I'm going to come back. My soul will come back into my body. And they just do it as a quick jolt to say, look, you're straight back in your body. Don't worry. You know, if you're falling off a cliff, it's not going to really happen. That's just us projecting ourselves where we want to go on this journey. So again, there are so many ways that people can interpret this, and it depends on your beliefs, your skepticism. It depends on what you truly believe as being, you know, your soul and what you believe in life. However, I can only give you the guidance that I get from my guides. And again, you don't need to listen to anything I'm saying. You may not even believe any word of what I've just said to you. I can only give you what I get when I connect with my guides, when I connect to source, and when I connect with the higher realms. That's all I can bring to you. And like I say, this is just me sharing what I get through my guides with like-minded souls. So either way, I really hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I hope it's given you a little bit of guidance. If anything, just give you a little bit of information on what my guides bring forward for me. And again, you don't have to listen to what I say. day. I just share this with like-minded people. So I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast, and I've given you a little bit of insight into what my guides show me and give to me about us falling asleep. And I will be back again soon, my lovelies. I will be back with another podcast soon. However, if you are new here, please click on that subscribe button. Also click on the bell so you're notified every time that I post content. And I will be back again, my lovelies, with another podcast in the near future. Take care.